Let me call the meeting to order. As the superintendent said, our closed session was fairly heavy this evening and we ran a little bit long. But welcome to our final regular session in March. Let me begin with a roll call here. Trustee Griffin.
Present.
Trustee Zuniga, I think, will join us shortly. Trustee Land.
Present.
Trustee Dwyer.
Present.
And I'm here. So 4 board members. There's Trustee Zuniga.
I'm present.
I was just doing roll call.
Oh, thank you.
So all 5 of us are present. Superintendent, can you lead us in Pledge of Allegiance?
I can indeed. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
We have our Spanish language interpreter for the meeting this evening, Enrique Montaldo. For those who would like to attend the meeting in Spanish, that option is available. Enrique, I'm not seeing Enrique. There he is. There he is. Could you please communicate that for us this evening?
Sure. Tenemos a nuestro intérprete de español para la reunión de esta noche. Para aquellos de ustedes que quieran asistir a la reunión en español, esta opción está disponible. Muchas gracias.
Thank you. If you wish to, if you wish to view closed captions of this meeting, please view the meeting on the San Mateo Union High School District Board Meeting YouTube channel. The link to the YouTube channel can be found on our website. You may view the captions in English as we live stream our meeting tonight, or you may view the captions in a variety of other languages if you choose to watch after the meeting has ended. Viewers can request additional accommodations by calling 650-558-2201. We have nothing to report out from closed session. No action was taken in closed session. This is a public meeting of the San Mateo Union High School District Board of Trustees. If you wish to make a public comment about an agenda item or during the public comment section at the beginning of this agenda, please use the raised hand feature on the Zoom to be recognized when invited to do so by the board president for each item on which you wish to comment. And you'll be admitted to speak during your public comment period. The board president will call on you. Please note that comments are limited to 3 minutes. The board president may increase or decrease the time allowed for public comment depending upon the topic and the number of persons wishing to be heard. So we have public comments and governing board comments next on the agenda. These are public comments on non-agenda items. And do we have any public comments on non-agenda items this evening?
I don't see any, President Hanley, not at this time.
Okay.
I'm sorry, I do see now, I do have one hand raised.
Okay.
Mr. Hugh, I'll now bring you in. Mr. Hugh, you can unmute yourself.
Yeah, so I just have a quick question regarding the COVID mask mandate thing. So is COVID more deadly in our district than other districts? It's a yes or no question. Just if anyone have.
This is not a dialogue. You're welcome to make a
All right.
comment.
So the answer is no, right? COVID is as deadly. It's the same everywhere, right? So why is it that our district are so behind with opening back up? Why is it that you guys keep lying to us with when we're going to open again and again, and pushing back the day we're supposed to be, free of mandates, free of limitations for so long? Like it makes absolutely zero sense. It makes students like myself and many of my peers lose faith in this board. And it just shows how you guys don't really care for the students. You guys don't really care for the people that's in this district. And for myself and many others, it's quite sad. It's quite sad. And I would personally, with many of my peers, urge you guys to reconsider the decision of extending the mask mandate until I think it's like 5 weeks later. I think, personally, and as a group, we don't see very much of the COVID cases popping up. We don't see masks as necessary, and we see masks as a personal choice that students should be able to make themselves, right? Like if you want to wear your mask, we encourage you to do so. But if you don't want to, if students don't want to wear their masks, they should have the freedom, the liberty to do that as they wish. That's all.
Thank you for your comment. Is there any other public comments?
I don't see any at this time, President Hanley.
Okay, governing board comments. Mr. Land.
I'll make mine quick. Thank you so much. In our consent agenda, we usually pass a lot of field trips that we pass, and luckily that a lot of our students are able to go on. And I wanted to just say that my own school, our 8th graders just got to go last week to Yosemite for a week, and it was the most incredible experience because they got to go out in nature. They got to experience interactions together in just a social setting, in a science setting, in a great environment. And I just, I was so happy to see our students interact in that way. And I'm glad we're doing that. And I think it's underlooked that we pass it regularly on our consent agendas, but they don't realize these overnight experiences and these great experiences are happening. So I just want to say thank you to all the teachers and staff who put these together and where they go. And I just, from my own experience, I know how wonderful it is for these students. So I'm glad that we're doing it again. And it's great to start getting back towards normalcy. We're getting there slowly. And I know it's not as fast as some would like, but we're getting there. And I'm really appreciative of it. Thank you.
Thank you. Trustee Zuniga.
Yes, thank you. Hello, everybody. I want to first acknowledge that we are on Ramaytush, Ohlone land. I wanted to mention I was able to attend the San Mateo County Youth Conference and the Oye Conference this weekend. It was awesome. There are so many amazing young people in our district, and there were so many great topics that we were able to discuss, and just listening to all the input from all of the different students all over San Mateo County. It wasn't just from our district. It was really, I don't know, it just kind of like gives you hope, and it was a really nice time. I wanted to also mention that YLF, the Youth Leadership Forum, it's an organization that is out of the Department of Rehabilitation, and they provide a conference every year for students with disabilities. And so their application process is going to close on March 30th. But if there's any parents and any students that are interested in this opportunity, you can go to the YLF website at the Department of Rehabilitation. It's a California state website. There's also an ACLU event on March 30th called Students Policing and Redefining School Safety. That will be on the 30th, and that's on the ACLU North Peninsula chapter website as well. I also wanted to mention, I wanted to address our board. I was thinking that maybe if we could discuss later on, perhaps having a time where we can all read the same book for the sake of, education for ourselves in communities that we're not, super knowledgeable about. For example, I had an awesome conversation with Holly Wade. She's just a great leader and in the special education department. And we were talking about the book No Pity. And that book specifically addresses the disability justice and disability rights movement from the beginning until the present. And so it would be great for our board to maybe read that book over the summer or, when we have some downtime. So, maybe we can all discuss that as a board, but I thought it was a good idea to all be, doing something just unifying like that. So like I said, we can discuss that later. But there's one more thing. There's a program called Stay in the Bay with 100K that's put on with the CTE program. There's a flyer going around, and I think it's on our district website as well. So if people want, if they're interested in that, to please participate. We have a lot of great jobs open right now in our district. So, spread the word. This is an awesome district to work for. So thank you.
Thank you. I just wanted to mention I had a chance to go with the superintendent and our CBO, Mr. Hawkins, to Sacramento and participate in the SF Squared spring retreat, I guess it is, and get briefed on things that were going on in the legislature and the budget. Also, although it doesn't affect us directly, community-funded districts are being asked to take on funding of TK programs, and right now they're not getting extra funding for that. And it doesn't affect a high school district directly, but it does indirectly in the sense that districts that are providing students to us are going to have to figure out, if they don't get extra funding, how are they going to reapportion funding? And it is a big issue in the community funded district environment right now. So it's something for us to be aware of, that this is an issue that's affecting a lot of districts that are providing students to us in the future. So I wanted to bring that to everybody's attention right now. So moving on. We have no communications to the Board of Trustees. We have a number of recognitions this evening, starting with the Arts Education Month.
Thank you very much. March is Arts Education Month. We know that arts education is an essential part of schools' curriculum. Art helps us connect with communities around us and make sense of the world. It helps our students find their place in the world. It gives them a voice. It allows us to build community, right? Art shows, art opportunities are tremendous times of bringing together people. A bunch of us were in an art class today, and it's just some of the most exciting opportunities that we have. One way that you can support art is to attend the board and the public to know that the Honeybee Art Show, which features the art of San Mateo High School students and staff, is running Fridays, Saturdays, and Sundays from 10 a.m. to 3 p.m. in the San Mateo Arboretum Society in the Cole Pump House in San Mateo Central Park. So if you're out walking, looking for something to inspire you, this is a great opportunity to do so. So we're really excited about Arts History Month. Next, I think we're talking about Women's History Month, which is also in March. So we honor and celebrate the struggles and achievements of American women throughout the history of the United States. Women have contributed to this, our nation in countless ways to create a more fair and just society. And this June marks the 50th anniversary of Title IX, the federal civil rights law that ensures that all education programs receive federal funding, that it must protect students and employees from sex-based discrimination. All aspects of public education and athletics, and our female scholar athletes are making history every day. It's funny. I went back and looked at my high school yearbook as part of preparing for this agenda item, and what I noticed was that there was so many fewer athletic opportunities for women when I was in high school, and that wasn't 50 years ago. So Title IX wasn't fully implemented for quite some time. And then there were just fewer opportunities for kids in general in athletics. And so both of those have been huge things that have helped schools. I've bragged about us for quite some time in terms of the basketball season, the winter seasons. We also have, if you get a chance and want to see great softball, we have great teams in our district, but right now we have two young ladies at Aragon, one of whom is Megan Grant, who has played in the U.S. World National softball team. The Mills High School golf team was the fall 2021 Scholastic champions. And a young lady at our school, Francesca Corbett, won gold with Team USA at the 2022 Pan Am Cup. So, we've got lots of students doing great things. And we've got a couple of our very finest coaches in the district here tonight to talk a little bit about their experiences in our program. So I don't know who wanted to go first alphabetically. I think it's you, Alana.
Hello, all. My name is Alana Tipton. I'm the Cappuccino High School head cheer coach, and this is going to be my 5th year coaching the amazing squad. Thank you guys for bringing this and for honoring all of the amazing female coaches that are in our district. We don't, in my opinion, we don't get recognized enough, and we are probably some of the hardest working coaches that I've seen across the board. And for me in particular with cheer, it's still in the air that cheer is not considered an actual sport, and I beg to differ, and I won't get into all of that, but I just want to thank you guys all just for honoring female coaches in general. We are, again, just as strong, if not stronger than a lot of our men coaches. We lead by example. We're strongest in the sense of athletically, academically, in every aspect you could think of. And I'm just happy that you guys are bringing this to light and shining, making us be the topic of conversation for a while. And yes, all sports are equal. All sports should be treated equally. I'm just happy that you guys our board has decided to shine a spotlight on all the strong female coaches in our district. And Cappuccino High School I'm biased because I work at Mills High School, but I've been coaching at Cappuccino longer than I've been working at Mills. I'm also an alum of Mills High School, so I should be there 100%, but Cappuccino has my heart when it comes to sports. I still love Mills, don't get me wrong, but like I said, the Mustangs cheer squad is one of the best cheer squads in the district for me. Thank you, guys.
So I'll just add that Alana is probably the first person you'll meet when you walk into onto the Mills campus. She is the school secretary and head cheerleader when she's there, and part of the Dobbins family. Carrie Velez, who used to report here, is her mother-in-law. So, she's a very important person to our community. We appreciate you and your family. Rachel, you're no stranger to the board. Rachel teaches science, teaches social studies, and then also is the ITC at Hillsdale High School, and has many roles, including being the women's soccer coach there. So I'm going to turn it over to you, Rachel.
Yeah, thank you. I teach guided studies this year at Hillsdale, and previously was an English teacher. I'm our varsity women's soccer coach, one of our head coaches, and it's truly an honor to be able to coach young women in a sport that I have played since I was 5 years old and went all the way to college to play at San Francisco State. It is a really interesting experience being in a coach in a women's sport that is still male dominated in the coaching staff. I'm one of 3 varsity coaches in the entire league. And there are, over 17 teams in the Bay, Ocean, and Lake Division in the PAL. And so I am proud to represent not only Hillsdale and the Knights, but young women and women in general in the coaching staff. And I cannot express the gratitude that I have, that I get to not only teach young humans in so many different ways, but get out on the field after teaching a very long day of guided studies and ITC and all the other things that I do at our district, but get this really unique experience to come out onto the soccer field and develop young women, not only as students, but as athletes, and bring their self-confidence, uplift them to be the most empowered people that they can be. There's nothing like being in athletics as a person, let alone as a young woman who can really reach their true potential. Being in athletics my entire life has taught me nothing. It has taught me more in my life than anything else. And it's a true honor to be able to be the varsity head coach at Hillsdale soccer team. And go Knights, as always.
Thank you very much, Rachel and Alana. Okay, and then finally, in our recognition, we want to recognize our athletic trainers. This is Athletic Trainer Month, and we have Sarah Devaney, who's going to share her thoughts, given that she works so closely and has worked even closer during this pandemic. So, Sarah, I'll let you take it away.
Everyone. So I'm really excited and honored to be here. National Athletic Training Month is celebrated every March. It's celebrated in recognition of the expertise and efforts of athletic trainers across the globe, and is dedicated to all those who play a vital role in the development and healthcare of athletes at various levels. So tonight we celebrate and recognize our amazing athletic trainers at our 6 comprehensive schools. One of our athletic directors was scheduled to be here, but he at the last minute wasn't able to, but he did write something, and I'm going to read on Jeff Scheller's behalf. He wrote, "I'm so honored to be here tonight to recognize our wonderful athletic trainers. I'm not sure if anyone realizes, but we have real life Avengers working in our district. We have our own Captain Marvels and Captain Americas working on our campus. I've had the pleasure of interacting with all 6 athletic trainers, Amanda, Dan, Matt, Chris, Sheldon, and my personal favorite, Jessica. These individuals who roam our campuses and unequivocally work directly with students, more students at their school than any other individual on our campuses. They know students, teachers, coaches, parents, and officials. In many ways, their contributions to the athletic department go above and beyond any other person on campus. Thank you for your heroic efforts to our students and staff." And that was from Jeff Scheller. And then I'll share a little bit. I met this group, I think, on my day 2 of being hired at the district. And that was way before the COVID years, and had a great interaction with them, but really got to know them over the last 2 years, when on every season and every year they've been asked to reimagine their role and their scope of work. And so I look forward to the days when all of their COVID responsibilities that they have been placed and asked to do are behind us, and we're able to focus and support them in their skills and their scope of work with our athletes. And we know our trainers are just beloved by our students and our coaches, and we would not have the athletic programs we have without them. And I think we have also one of our amazing, and also to highlight our women in sports, we have Jessica Mays, one of our ATs here, who's going to say a couple words. Thanks.
Hi, I'm Jessica Mays. This is my 6th year as an athletic trainer at San Mateo High School. On behalf of Amanda, Dan, Chris, Matt, and Sheldon, some of them are currently covering games right now. I'd like to thank the board, Superintendent Skelly, Sarah, and Jeff especially for taking the time to recognize the profession of athletic training. High school athletic trainers are in a unique role that allows us to provide our students with access to on-site healthcare, develop trusting relationships and be mentors to our student athletes, protect and increase safety for our students, and try to make a positive impact on our students' athletic careers and their lives just overall. Our position usually flies under the radar until someone is injured or we are called upon to support COVID protocols. So we definitely appreciate this moment in the spotlight outside of those circumstances. So thank you again for your guys' time and recognition. We appreciate it.
Okay, let's see. Next, I think we.
Linda, did you have a
I just
question?
want to make a quick comment about the athletic trainers. Is that okay?
Yeah.
I remember quite a few years ago, actually, when we first started with the athletic training program, I was at a game and a student was injured, and that athletic trainer was on that field so fast. He sprinted. He got extra people to come. He called in the right people that carried the young person off, put him on the table. The ambulance drove up. I mean, they carried him. That young student received such excellent care immediately. And I really believe that injuries can be minimized as much as you can by having the right person there to provide that leadership and to provide that care. Just that the student knows the athletic trainer, so they know them, they know they care about them, so they feel safe. And I think when a child is injured on a field playing a sport, it's pretty terrifying, and for the parents in the stands. And so having the athletic trainer take the leadership role and accompany the student to the ambulance, off they go. I know I did. There was like a round of applause afterwards, and it was refreshing to hear that and to see that work to see that work happen. So thank you very much for everything you do.
Okay, thank you, Jessica, for your comments, and Sarah, thank you for coming in and introducing. The next part of the meeting is our AVID Senior Celebration, and this is always one of my favorite parts of the year and board meetings. So, we have highlights of the board at the board meetings, and this is clearly one of them. So I'm going to turn this over to Sammy Showman and ask her to take us from here.
Thank you. Although I don't see everyone that's supposed to be promoted, but maybe by the time I do the introduction, they'll be there. So I'm always, good evening, President Hanley, members of the board, Dr. Skelly, Superintendent's Cabinet. I am always happy to be here for this because I love to celebrate amazing work and people, and I'm extremely proud of our AVID staff and students. Tonight, I'm joined by 3 AVID teachers, 2 of whom also share AVID site coordinator responsibilities. So we have Courtney Caldwell representing Aragon, Alan Manolo representing Cappuccino, and Ed Montalango representing San Mateo High School. Gonna pass it over to Courtney first, and she'll introduce the Aragon High School senior standout, and then we'll continue in alphabetical order from there, and we'll allow the students to make some comments about their experience in AVID, and then I will quickly share some data and experiences that we've been able to get back to this year. Well, I don't see.
Dr. Showman, we don't see Courtney. We've been looking for her. We don't see her.
Okay, if we can advance the slide to San Mateo, I do see Mr. Montalango. So maybe we can start there. Although I don't see Carmen, so I'm not sure if you see her either.
Oh, she's coming. I'm bringing her in now.
Okay. Right, she's here. So Mr. Montalango, if you want to start.
Good evening, board, Superintendent Skelly and cabinet. I was asked to step in on behalf of Ms. Gorgani, who couldn't be here this evening. I'm Ed Montalango. I teach ethnic studies in AVID at San Mateo High School. And while I'm not Ms. Gorgani, I have known Carmen throughout her 4 years at San Mateo. And she's taken on, as you can see, a panoply of leadership experiences. A first-generation college student who has just recently received a lot of college acceptances. Congrats, Carmen. I've known her not only as her teacher her freshman and sophomore year, but also as one of her advisors in La Raza Unida, where she stands as one of the leadership council members. Since she's taken on all of these experiences and leadership roles, she's demonstrated not only her usual sass, because she's super sassy, but also her critical insight and her sharp mind. She shows up, she puts in the work, and she brings with her an open-mindedness. And I think it's those kinds of qualities, young people with those kinds of qualities, who are really going to reinvigorate our collective sense of possibility and take our society to the tomorrow that we deserve. It's honestly been such a joy and honor to witness her trajectory and her growth as a curious young woman as a freshman in my classes, to the empowered Latina who sits before you all. It's been a true joy as a teacher and as an educator. And Carmen, tonight we celebrate you, and we're so excited for what your future holds. Thanks so much.
Carmen, I see you. If you want to unmute and say a few words, you're more than welcome.
Thank you so much, Mr. Montalongo. I just want to say thank you for the AVID program for helping me throughout all my college process, throughout like the whole high school career. Because of AVID, I was able to accomplish my goal of like going to college, and now I have multiple college acceptances, in which I'm really happy about. So thank you so much.
Thank you. We are so proud of you. If we want to put the slide deck back up, I know Miss Caldwell was here, and she can present for Aragon.
Good evening. I'm Courtney Caldwell, and I'm the senior AVID teacher at Aragon. I'm here tonight to present to you Ureli Herrera. I've known her since her sophomore year as her AVID teacher, and she is a 4-year AVID student. She's become one of our AVID peer tutors and is paying it forward to the AVID program at Aragon. She's an impressive GPA, 3.95 with multiple AP classes. She's a first-generation college student, and I would just like to say that having had the opportunity to learn, so much about Ureli over the past 3 years, everything you see on the screen here is barely scratching the surface as to who Ureli is and what she's had to overcome throughout the past 4 years. She's a part of, and she was awarded the Students Rising Above Rising Star. She's awarded to the program last year, class of 2022. She's also a San Mateo Youth Foundation scholar. Doing all of this and managing all of her AP course load, she manages to work 4 days a week to help out her family, tutors youth in her neighborhood, and has been accepted to many schools at this point. I'm so proud of the student Ureli has become, and I am just so excited to see where she goes in the future. And I'm just really proud to be here tonight to present her to you. And that's Ureli. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Ms. Caldwell. Yareli, would you like to say a few words? We are also very proud of you.
Yeah. So during these past 4 years, I've been through some ups and downs in my personal life, but AVID was that one thing that was constant. I'm a very introverted person, but AVID pushed me out of my comfort zone and forced me to try new things. AVID has really helped me maintain my GPA. They really helped me apply to scholarships and colleges. It really became a support system I don't think I would have had if I wasn't in the program. Thanks to AVID, I stayed on track these past 4 years, and ultimately I achieved my goal of going to college. Thank you.
Thank you. You're doing it. So we're so proud of you. And then we have our last student and teacher, Mr. Manolo from Cappuccino, who will present Tyler.
All right. So thank you for allowing me to say a few words to honor Tyler in front of all of you. I've been able to work with Tyler for the past 4 years. I've had him for 2 years as his English teacher and then 2 years as the AVID teacher. He's always struck me as a dedicated worker when I had him in English, but having him as an AVID student allows me to peer behind the curtain and see like the student behind the student. That makes sense. Tyler's exactly what you would want out of an AVID student. He's someone who's dedicated to the program, even when the work can be difficult. He's someone who's willing to trust the process, even when the end goal isn't completely in sight. He's someone who knows when to step up and knows when to step back to allow other people into the space. Tyler's been accepted to San Jose State as well as UC Riverside. He's currently waiting on the decision from UC Berkeley and Cal Poly, which are both coming up very soon. Whatever he decides, I know that his work ethic and willingness to persevere will serve him well at the next level. He's a great student, but an even better person. He's someone who adds value to any community he's involved in, and it's evident from how his peers see him both in the classroom as well as on the teams he's involved in. Congratulations, Tyler. It's been an honor to work with you for the past 4 years.
Thank you, Mr. Manolo. I think Tyler is also here if he wanted to unmute and say a few words.
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Manolo. The AVID program to me has helped me become an overall better student and has provided me with all the tools I need to be successful, both academically and personally. It has also taught me to have balance in my life, and it has instilled in me the confidence and motivation to pursue my ambitions. It also has shown me that I can achieve my objective of attending a four-year university, which is my ultimate goal. Thank you.
Thank you, Tyler. And thank you to all the students for being here, for the AVID teachers, for the work they do every day. They are the ones that help, the students are amazing, but they, AVID exists for a reason, to give them that extra kind of push and exposure. We have a few more slides we wanted to share, if that's okay, around the work that's being done. So I think Trustee Land mentioned, the piece around the field trips, right? And we were also lucky after 2 years of kind of being on hiatus. One of the kind of premier parts of AVID is getting students on college campuses, because it's not something that they can always do on their own or their families can take the time to do. So you see some pictures from the SoCal trip that Aragon took just very recently. And kind of one of the cool things is, as one of the tour guides at UCLA happened to be an Aragon High School AVID grad. So that was really fun for that student to be able to lead our AVID students. So we're very excited. There are trips. There's one more slide that has some pictures, but there are trips planned out of Cappuccino and even Burlingame. All of our AVID sites, San Mateo also did a SoCal trip to get our kids on campuses to see what's possible. And we're really happy that we were able to do that again this year. Next slide. Just wanted to quickly provide some demographics around the numbers of students enrolled in our AVID program. You can see at Burlingame, because the program just started 3 years ago, next year we'll have our first senior class. So we'll have 4 senior standouts instead of 3. Our program is growing. We're excited about it. We want to continue to grow the program. Next slide. And then we want to celebrate our bright spots. I think, often we get stuck thinking about all of our work in the list. We don't always pause to celebrate our bright spots. So this is our class of 2021, who also, went through the pandemic and survived. And I also want to shout out the teachers. If you think about our 10th grade class this year, they started AVID at home. It's not really, and it's really meant, and based around community, and for them to be able to foster that online and bring the students back. I can't say enough about the teachers. So last year we had 103 AVID seniors. 66% of those 103 were first generation college going. Almost 60% qualified for free and reduced lunch, and 17% were English learners. And we're really proud of that because AVID is one of our strategies we're trying to use to get after our LTEL students. 83% of our students took at least one course of rigor, an AP or an IB or a dual enrollment, and 95% finished the A to G requirements. You can see the average GPA, how many graduated on time, how many applied to a four-year college, how many got accepted, and then how many submitted a FAFSA. And that number is higher because we have students, They don't do the application. They know they're going to go to a 2-year or they're going to go to a technical school or something of that sort. And then the last slide. Just to show the impact on college and career readiness that AVID provides. You can see out of the 103 seniors, 99, if you put it by numbers, 99 met A to G requirements. That means 4 did not. As compared to, the percent-wise, compared to our district, compared to San Mateo County, and compared to California. So the AVID seniors in our district outperformed their peers locally, countywide, and statewide, and we're very proud of that. That is it.
So I think, Mr. Lane, you have some comments?
I think
Leah
was first.
Leah was the first one.
Oh,
Go ahead.
Thank you. With every great staff, with great kids and everything is also great leadership. So this definitely speaks to your leadership, Samia. We are very fortunate to have such a wonderful leader in our district. And, our teachers are amazing. You support your staff so well. And then it trickles down to our kids. This program is super valuable. I can give you some personal experiences. My brother went through AVID and he went to Davis, graduated from Davis, and now he's getting his master's in Manchester. He went to the Peace Corps and did a bunch of great things. And I truly believe it was because of the experiences he had at AVID. There was another program growing up at Stanford. It was Upward Bound, and that really planted seeds in my life to be able to see myself in the people that were graduating from Stanford. Because that's the thing, is that representation is what's important. And when we don't have a lot of representation in our communities and our families, we look to the school, we look to other places. And this is so, so, so important. So I just want to say thank you so much for what you do with our students. Thank you to the students, who stick it out. I know it's hard working and, taking care of so many things at the same time. But like Samuel was saying, you're doing it, you're doing it. You did it. So you are an example to the future students that are going to come. So yeah, there was a young lady that also went through the program that worked on my campaign when I was running. And it was interesting because just everything that she talked about, what she stood for, it was just all the great influences she had and the great support. So thank you all so much. And thank you to the students too.
Thank you. Can I say something really quick? I want to highlight, the 3 teachers that are here tonight. Mr. Montalango and Ms. Caldwell also teach ethnic studies. And there's no surprise, that seeps into the AVID class. And I know Mr. Manolo, I've been in his class. He works very closely with the ethnic studies teachers to bring that stuff. I mean, he might as well, the pedagogy is there. And so those intersections is why when we bring these students on, right, they're seeing themselves in both their academic classes and AVID because they're bringing that in. So I really wanted to highlight them and highlight the work that, you know, they're finding the intersections.
Trustee Land.
Thank you. So Lihia, you took a little bit of my thunder, so I'm going to start with the students first. Just all three, congratulations. We are very proud of you. Just looking at what you've done and how you've helped out and contributed to our communities and how hard you worked, and it's just incredible. Second, to the teachers, I am so proud to have teachers like you be a part of our district. Just hearing you and hearing the enthusiasm and the connections that you made with these students and how much of a inspiration you are to them, I just think that's incredible. So thank you for participating here and speaking on behalf of your AVID programs. And then, not to say anything least, Samia, you're an incredible leader. You do so much for our district. I am so proud of you. And I'm so lucky, we're so lucky to have you as part of our district. I think this is an incredible program. I'm so glad to see it grow like this. We don't want to let this get away. I mean, we need to stay on top of this and make sure that we keep this going. So congratulations to everyone. Thank you so much.
Trustee Griffin.
Yes, this is a really positive, uplifting report. And in a COVID world that at least myself, I've been living in for 2 years, and it's really easy to get down. And certainly I appreciate the report. I appreciate the teachers, the students, everyone who has put effort into it, including Samia. And it's really making a difference in these students' lives. And I hate to use like transformative, but it is that kind of a deal. And I've been a big supporter because my granddaughter was an AVID, and it made a difference in her life. And she's in college now that she wouldn't have got out of high school. And and so she has benefited from the program. I hope we can keep this program, keep building on it, and keep adding one campus at a time. So anyway, good work.
Trustee Dwyer.
Okay, if I start coughing, I'm allergic to spring. So apologize ahead. It's like ditto, 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 ditto. I agree with everything. And Samia, your leadership is so vital. It's so important. And I hope that you realize how appreciated. I hope you feel appreciated. I hope that every teacher working on this program and teaching ethnic studies feels appreciated, because what you're doing is so important to the future of our communities, of our state, of our world. And it's just incredibly important. If we could double this program in a year, I'd be thrilled. If we could triple it, if we get 1,000 kids in it, yes, it would be so amazing. I had a foster child for 4 years of her high school life, and she was an AVID, and she went on the tour. And I could have driven her to every university in the state, and it would not have impacted her like the tour with AVID. She went on that tour. She came home. She couldn't wait to tell me about the schools and what it was like. It opened her eyes to a world she just had no experience with. And as a parent, you can't do it as well as AVID can do it, as being with other students and going to UCLA and having a former AVID graduate be the leader. Wow. So Samia and all of you, thank you so much. And to the AVID students, you make us very proud, and you make us kind of energized, and you make me personally excited about growing this program and having more people come support Samia as we grow this program, and all of you. Thank you.
Linda, I'm glad you said that. And we're recording this because I got an email today about one school that needs one section to make sure they fit all their students. So I'm going to email back tonight and say, The board said yes.
I'm only one, but I say
two.
yes. Thank you.
Yes, I think, one of the advantages of, being on the board for a number of years is you get to see this program over and over, repeatedly producing, the outstanding results. And that speaks to, the consistency of the program and the quality of the people involved and the leaders, the teachers that are involved, the leadership of the program, and the students that get involved and are committed and participate in the program. So, as the superintendent was saying when he introduced it, it's one of the best presentations we have every year, because the quality is so high every year that we see this. So thank you again for the presentation and for all the work that's gone into this.
Thank you.
So I think we are ready to move on to consent agenda. Does anyone wish to pull anything from the consent agenda? Trustee Dwyer.
I don't want to pull anything, but I want to make a comment on one item that's on it. And should I just make my quick comment and then I'll make a motion?
Okay.
You okay with that? Okay. I'm looking at the athletic, it's the athletic training. Now I can't find it. Don't you love that? It's the class that we're approving.
The course of study.
K4.
Yes.
Leadership, athletic leadership.
Yes, the athletic leadership course of study. One exciting class. I am really excited that we're going to offer this because it covers so much of what it looks like, almost like athletic training. But it offers so much opportunity to students to explore different pieces of jobs and careers in athletics that aren't performance focused. And I just think it's a wonderful course of study. And that's all I really wanted to say. And I move approval of the consent agenda.
Second.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion from Trustee Dwyer and a second from Trustee Land. How do you vote, Trustee Griffin?
Yes.
Trustee Zuniga?
Yes.
Trustee Land?
Yes.
Trustee Dwyer?
Yes.
And I vote yes also. So that motion passes 5-0. Regular reports. Report of the superintendent this evening.
Thank you very much. This board meeting is sort of the equivalent of a baseball sort of get out of town game where it's Friday and you got to take a long trip because we're jumping into spring break after tomorrow. I know folks are very excited about having a week off. I've been imploring with administrators and teachers and everybody that, hey, let's really take this break, because if you remember, Omicron hit us winter break, and it was like, I don't want to make a soldier reference, but we've had long tours of duty here, and having at least 1 week of R&R is really important. I've had a chance to go see plays, go see games, go see, visit schools a lot these past few days, and the better weather, the later day has really, I think, been nice for folks in terms of just raising the spirits as we head into the final push around the after spring break. We really get into the last 2 months of school, and things happen quickly, and there's just a lot of excitement that goes that's associated with this time. I have to say, our students are, the board passed continued the mask mandate. We have had some issues on campus early on where students weren't pleased, but the level of cooperation of our students, their acceptance of whatever has been just really high. And it just reminds me that our students, they just want to go to school. They just want to get after it and enjoy their friends and be part of it. So we're really excited about the spring break and just having the chance to work with the great staff and students that we have here in the district. That's the end of my report.
Thank you. Do we have student board member reports?
We do not.
We don't. Okay. District Teachers Association this evening.
Mr. Childress isn't here yet. We're trying to reach out, but we do have Mr. Booker from the adult school here. We do not have a report from CSCA this evening, President Hammond.
Okay. Mr. Booker, go ahead, please.
Sure.
Thank you very much. Dr. Skelly, distinguished board members, I want to thank you for the time to speak at the board meeting this evening. Again, my name is Demetrius Booker. I'm a CTE instructor and a member of the CFT union. At the last board meeting, I just want to cover what they did last time. And at the last board meeting, our graduation for ESL students is set for April the 22nd, as well as the transition to CSM students for CSM. That was happening today and tomorrow. So for ESL, what's coming up is registration and placement for our summer term, and that's going to start, I think it's May the 9th. And that's going to be through July. Let's see, this week, the 24th, we held 2 orientations for student ambassadors, both for the AM and PM sessions. They're volunteers with ESL registration and for orientation. So these ambassadors, like current students who help with registration, provide like a warm meeting, warm welcome for other ESL students. It's really helpful. Again, we're continuing with this hybrid model in the summer, which is cool. I like it because, a lot of students are kind of, reticent about coming on campus, but having the opportunity to attend online and come on campus when they need help, it's been very helpful for the entire program. So next week is Adult Ed Week, as we all know, Adult Ed. So we'll be meeting with state legislators to discuss successes at the schools and challenges for adult education going forward. Well, again, thanks for your time. Appreciate it.
Thank you. Thank you for your report. I see Mr. Childress has arrived.
Yes, thank you. Thank you very much. Good evening, President Hanley, members of the board, district cabinet. Gosh, so many recognitions tonight. And I would concur with Dr. Skelly and others that the AVID presentation is one that I look forward to. I think Trustee Hanley mentioned that one of the benefits of being here for a long time, and I've been here a long time as well. We get to appreciate some of the traditions. So I really do appreciate those presentations, and I concur that I hope that program can expand to other schools to reach more students. I'm really excited about the Burlingame class, the senior class next year, and seeing the work of what they do. I would also concur that the students are amazing, the teachers are amazing, and of course Dr. Showman's leadership is amazing as well. And I really want to appreciate her work and her dedication as a former association member and teacher in the district and Hillsdale Knight. I want to appreciate her efforts in that vein. A couple of other things, again, more recognitions. I really want to appreciate Alana and Rachel talking about their roles in women's athletics in the district. As a parent of a female student athlete, I really can't express enough how important it is to have strong female role models, but obviously in education, in academics, but also in athletics, to provide them an opportunity to see what's possible and promote them and promote their ideas, and also to give them guidance to fulfill their dreams, really. The other one is a little bit off agenda. You'll hear later about an appointment of a new administrator in the district. And I just want to make a couple of comments about Andrew Hardig, who's a colleague of mine at Hillsdale, someone with whom I've worked very closely in the association. And I really want to just express my gratitude for his service as an association representative. He's intelligent, he's thoughtful, and he's going to make a great addition to the Aragon staff and administration. And I wish him the best. And, you know, our loss is going to be Aragon's gain. So on to sort of general topics. Glad to see that the bargaining proposals are before the district tonight. Both parties have presented their proposals. Looking forward to meeting with Dr. Black and his team to move on with reopening negotiations. I think everyone recognizes that our local revenue is in a pretty good standing this year, somewhat more than what we expected or what was at least presented in Mr. Hawkins' second interim report. No offense, but I know those numbers were drafted at a time before things had improved. So we're looking forward to discussing options for next year, hoping that we can address the enrollment shifts in our district in a meaningful and thoughtful way as we go forward. As you know, we are opening the article regarding staffing ratio, and we're going to be looking at trying to address reaching the most students with the highest need with the opportunities that we have with the revenue that we have. And again, sounding very cryptic because of course the proposals haven't even been approved yet, but I'm hoping to look forward to some creative and thoughtful discussions on staffing in the district. The second thing I'd like to say is, I really want to commend the board for making a thoughtful decision. If you recall, last time I spoke extensively about why the governor's, I may have described it as flippant or reckless in his quick decision to allow the mandate to be expire in the K-12 schools. And I really implored the board to make a thoughtful decision based on our local data, based on our local situations. And I really do commend the board for thinking about that and thinking about what we're seeing in our own district, in our own area. Concurrently with the idea that our students and our staff have really addressed these protocols with a focus of what's best for the community. So again, commending the board for their thoughtful decision. I also think it's important to continue to monitor our local parameters as well. We've been doing a great job testing our students. We've been assessing the COVID in our district. At the time that the governor put forth his recommendation to relax the mandate, we were at a lull. We increased in terms of numbers of cases. We've since gone down. Our number of testings, the amount of testing that we're doing has gone down. So it's really just important that we're all thoughtful and look at the numbers and really assess what's going on rather than just listening to the sound bites. Finally, again, I'd like to commend the district for really working hard on addressing the idea that spring break and the cyclical nature of this pandemic could have adverse effects on our ability to provide a safe environment for schools. And so I really do want to commend the district for providing tests for all students and all staff over spring break. And it's really, I think, an important manner of addressing safety that everybody is going to feel more comfortable with as we move forward to the April 21st reassessment of the masking protocol. And with that, thank you. And here's, looking forward to, again, I know it's kind of weird to say, but I'm looking forward to negotiations and hoping to find some common ground. Thank you.
Thank you. So I think we can move on to special reports and appearances. M1, the English Learners Progress Update.
So I'm going to turn this over to Ms. Kempke to introduce the topic.
Good evening. Well, Dr. Samia Showman and Miss Nina Finchy don't need much introduction. They are the great leaders of our EL program in the district. Nina has done great work in supporting teachers in this unprecedented year where we've welcomed a lot of new English learners into the system. And I just know that they've worked so hard creatively and collaboratively to ensure that we're welcoming the students back throughout the year, as well as at the beginning of this year when we came back in person. So really proud of their work they've done. And with that, I'll just turn it over to Samia.
Thank you. So Nina, Fincy, and I are here to give this progress report that will include a report on our LCAP metrics, as well as an overview of the current state of our EL programs. I do want to take just a few seconds to publicly acknowledge Nina for her role in this work. She does so much more than what is actually visible, including keeping me standing. So I'm grateful to have her partnership and brilliance in this work. Next slide. And I want to follow that up by thanking all of the ELD staff, our ALD staff, our focusing really on those serving newcomers, and the staff that have made shifts in their original assignments to accommodate our influx of newcomers. We would not be where we are without the educators and support staff that are giving their all for our most vulnerable students. You'll see in our report later the increase in students we faced this year, and that our district is serving more ELD students than we've ever served before. I don't think we can do enough to thank them, recognize them, and uplift their work. This has been the most unique and challenging year since I've been in this role. Not just because the influx, we're coming out of a pandemic, not knowing exactly what to have expected. So tonight we're going to go over both current demographics and how we've grown over time and how we've shifted our program and practices to meet those changes. So I'm going to hand it over to Nina and she'll walk you through our current EL demographics.
Next slide, please. Good evening, members of the board, Superintendent Skelly, and the cabinet. We'd like to start by going over our current EL demographics. As you can see, we have 5 different levels of English learners, starting from ELD 1 at the beginning level of English proficiency to long-term English learners at the other end of the spectrum. ELD 1 and 2 students are immigrant students at different levels of English proficiency who are part of our ELD program. ELs in the mainstream have exited ELD, but have not been in the US for 6 years, whereas long-term English learners, or LTELs, are US-born multilingual students educated in the US for 6 or more years. More than 50% of our LTELs are underclassmen. 34% are 9th graders and 30% are 10th graders. Because of the pandemic, fewer students have reclassified in the last few years. Another thing to note on this slide is that more than half of our ELD students are ELD 1 newcomers. Although our newcomers are primarily from Guatemala and other Central American countries, they are very diverse in skills and education levels, as well as the native languages they speak, many of whom having an indigenous language as their mother tongue. Because of the influx of ELD 1 students this year, and that being our focus, we recognize that we need to do more to serve our LTELs so that they can successfully reclassify. Next slide, please. If we take a look at the enrollment over time, you will notice some demographic changes in our English learner population. First thing to notice is that this year's ELD student number surpasses all other years by a large margin. We are in March, yet we already have 105 ELD students more than at the end of last year. Students keep coming. Additionally, most of the English learners entering our district this year are ELD1 newcomers, and their enrollment doubled since our pre-pandemic years. The growth of EMS and LTELs, mainstream and long-term English learners, could be because not many students took the LPAC during the pandemic online learning. Next slide, please.
Okay, so I'm gonna walk you through just kind of the trend in our new ELD enrollments. And what I mean by new is from summer, like the school year ends, summer starts, students start to enroll between June and August. So they may start in August all the way through the end of this current school year. So I think Nina mentioned, we're in March. I have 6 students who just recently tested who have not been placed. I know 5 of the 6 are ELD1, 1 is ELD2, so they're not counted in these numbers. So you can add, so these are students who came in from summer all the way to just today. And by year, since we started tracking when I got here. So you can see right now, 197 new students in ELD1. As Nina mentioned, that's where we're seeing most of our influx. We get few new students who test in the level 2 and 3s. And then additionally, we do get other students from other countries or other states, and we're not sure. So there are a few that will test, initial fluent English proficient, or we know that they're LTEL or mainstream. I have some stars on the bottom because of this influx and, not being able to plan. Honestly, like even if you took knowing the students in June and July, most of our students have consistently been coming in August, September, October, November. If you look at the number from last year and having used even the trends the 2 years before, it was very hard to guess how many kids we were going to have this year. So pivoting takes a tremendous amount of effort by various parts of this organization and our school sites. So I want to take the opportunity to highlight the work, collaboration, and support from ELD veterans, to new teachers of ELD students, and then all of the people that feed our students, transport our students. So, our kids come into student services and then are placed by members of student services once they've taken their test. I love that team. And the women that are serving our families as they enroll, they've been really flexible and helpful. Our ELD instructional aides, which we've had to add a lot of throughout the year, our EL specialists, our family engagement coordinators. I want to thank the board for allowing us to add the ELD social worker last year. It came great timing. Our wellness teams, and the addition of resources and being able, even at Bridge, now we have 72 students. We have 3 more starting after the break. We could have never imagined that, and being able to have full-time wellness counselors dedicated to our students, our ELD counselors at our sites, our teachers, our department chairs. I know Enrique is on here interpreting. He's one of our ELD teachers. So all the extra work, and dedication. Our newcomer task force that we have going this year to think about how we best serve these students. The administrators overseeing ELD, lots of time on the phone with the different people. Obviously Nina, our HR department, Lulu, Sandra, Brian, I need another teacher. Can you post this? Can you post this? Can you hurry up and hire them? I needed them yesterday. And then of course, our testing assistant, Adeseli, who not only is testing all these students and interviewing them, is also running our LPAC testing, which I'm proud to say we are more than halfway done with 79% of our students having started the test. So just to give you a picture of, really the continued influx of our students. We can go to the next slide. Not only because of the influx, but because of the California English Learner Roadmap, we've really taken a look at our program and made lots of shifts to shift with the time to be able to better serve our students' needs. Years ago, we used to have, our program was ELD 1, 2, and ELD 3, 4. It was 2 levels, but with mixed students. We shifted from that to having 3 levels where there's a designated and an integrated, clearly separated. And we're actually considering whether we need to add a newcomer level before ELD 1 because of some of the types of students we're seeing enroll. We went from 3 periods, students from taking 3 periods of ELD, right? In hour 1 and hour 2, a reading to integrated and designated to align with the state's roadmap. A lot of sites have now even separated, right, the teachers. So one teacher might be ELD 1 designated and a different teacher for integrated. And that really helps them focus on the integrated is kind of the English course, right? And the designated is attending to the language. We've added a bunch of EL content classes for all levels of ELD students. We used to limit our science and social science classes to students till they reached a level 3. That really created barriers to graduation. And now we have classes like Intro to Science, or it's a UC science eligible course for our ELD 1 kids, physics, bio, world history, government, econ, math, geometry, algebra. And so we're really happy that we can allow our students to have access. We want to do a better job of, continuing to lower class size. It's been hard this year because of the influx. And I appreciate the flexibility and understanding of teachers, and we're really hoping we'll do a better job next year. And then lastly, right, we created Bridge to accommodate students with interrupted formal education and ELD students coming with no to very few credits. And that has really, clearly it's grown. We started with 2 classrooms at the beginning of the year. Now we have 3. Nina will talk a little bit more specifically about Bridge, but it's helped take the burden off the sites too. And we're basically trying to take as many of the kids at this point of the year as we can, so they're ready either to move on as they finish or transition back to the sites in the fall. Next slide. And then lastly, academic, right, is one piece, but with ELD students and really all the district students, we want to attend to the whole student and we want to attend to their families. We've expanded our student and family support services. You see the picture of the Peace Pantry. I know you've heard of it at Hillsdale, and now they're actually their own dedicated site. Brett Stevenson has done an amazing job doing the work to make that happen. We're able to serve more families. They also serve our Bridge families. We have our ELD soccer program, and then all kinds of awesome enrichment activities and classes that teachers and staff have taken the initiative. Cappuccino has done recently, you'll see pictures later of a field trip, but they had a movie night for their ELD kids. San Mateo High School, Leah Asanuma is bringing a self-defense class for the ELD girls. The Empowerment Through Action that both serves ELD and some of our LTEL students. We have yoga, we offer yoga and PE. We've done a family education series through our family engagement coordinators. Our mental health and wellness department, thank you to April and her team, her wellness leads for increasing wellness counselors, specifically serving ELD students. And then our task force we started this year to address the best way to serve our recently arrived students. We have 2 teachers from all of our schools, plus we have a district kind of led ELD task force of the administrators and counselors to try to address challenges and share best practices. Next slide.
So it's been a few years since we updated you on our Bridge program. So having started our program 5 years ago with 18 students, we currently serve 72 ELD 1 and 2 students. Over the years, we have been able to expand our staff and our course offerings to meet the unique needs of our student population. Our students are primarily from Guatemala, a handful from El Salvador, Honduras, Mexico, and Peru. While some of the students have interrupted formal education from their home countries or struggle with foundational literacy, others have high school credits from their home countries and are able to pursue a graduation path. All of our students are highly motivated to learn English. They're full of joy and appreciation for the opportunity to further their education in this country. Thanks to our partnership with San Mateo High School, we're proud to have 5 students graduating from Bridge this year, which is a first. So on this slide, you see that we've tripled in size since the first day of school this year. Students are still arriving. We just welcomed 7 new students just this week. We increased our staff assignments, as Samia has mentioned. We are lucky to have a full-time mental health therapist now, social worker dedicated to us 2 days a week, and offering yoga and PE and art and fly and groups and starting to go on field trips. You see here, students checking out a book at the San Mateo Public Library. That's one of our annual field trips. And we continue to build and expand on our community partnerships. We are super thankful for the additional staffing, for the flexibility of our staff, our students and families as we continue to grow and evolve. It truly takes a village. So we want to take the opportunity to thank the Adult School Administration, as well as Tommy, Eddie, and Oliver from the Maintenance Department. We are indebted to Regina and Carla at the San Mateo cafeteria for feeding our students every day, for our instructional aides, especially Santiago, for all the setup and all his handiwork. Thank you, Ron, Fred, Elaine, and Billy from Peninsula for all your support, April for our full-time wellness, and of course, our entire Bridge team for making it all possible every day. And our fearless leader, our director, Samia. Next slide, please. So this continues to be our area of growth, which is supporting our LTEL students. We know and we hope that next year affords us more opportunities to focus on this group of students, since newcomers have taken our focus this year. Our one improvement has been communicating with students and families about the students' LTEL status, as well as the reclassification criteria. To that end, many sites have meetings and assemblies with students right before the LPAC. On the slide here, you see some of the things we have done to support our LTEL, such as creating academic language development course so that all our LTELs have designated ELD. We continue to partner with EL Achieve to train teachers in constructing meaning strategies, using Elevation to monitor progress, and EL specialists collaborating with counselors to support students. We started this form you see on the top, individual language acquisition plan, but we had to suspend it during the pandemic. We hope to pick it up next year again, where we can monitor progress and set goals. We also hope, one goal of implementing ethnic studies was to further engage our LTELs and strengthen their academic identity, as well as engage them in culturally relevant and empowering curriculum. And we also want to continue to use AVID as an additional strategy to support our long-term English learners. Next slide, please.
So we have 3 metrics in our LCAP around performance of our EL students. We're in continued conversation, right, around what are the most authentic measures of growth for a group of students who are not monolithic by any means. So our first measure is to increase the percent of students making at least 1 year of growth on LPAC. Clearly, that's been hard in terms of, you see the number of test takers, right, over the last 2 years during the pandemic, because students had to test online, virtually. You had to have a school-issued computer. It was hard. But we have still made progress in terms of when you look at the percent of students making a year of growth. We anticipate this year having a completion rate above 95%. We are completely done with more than half of our students, and we have 75% of our students that have started the test and should be done actually probably tomorrow, and then we'll catch we have 2 schools left, and we're going to do those after spring break. Although we do have until the end of May to finish, and so we'll focus our time on students that we haven't been able to reach. Next slide. For this metric, we really count only the students who have been in our schools a full academic year, because we have students that just started. So it's really hard to say, okay, I got here on March 24th and I'm going to make a full year of progress. And we're looking at how many of our kids are advancing to the next level of ELD or transitioned into the mainstream if they're in ELD 3. So I started in 1, I got here in August, I started in 1. Am I going to 2 the next year? Am I going from 2 to 3? When you look at the percent at Peninsula, clearly that's low because those are our bridge students and they're usually here with us for a year and then they're transitioning to the adult school unless they're younger and then they come back to us. So that kind of accounts for those numbers. Again, you know, seeing progress, but then having the pandemic, which really made it hard. Zoom school is not the best if you're an English learner and you're trying to produce oral language and have conversation, especially for kids who started their experience in ELD in Zoom. I am happy to say, you know, we're in really good conversation with our district partners around ELD students coming in. They've also seen, right, a rise in their enrollment around students that are incoming and what level they will be at. Next slide. And then our last metric is around reclassification. That really focuses on our LTEL students. We don't expect our ELD students to reclassify, hence why you see the 3%, 1%. Those kids just got here, right? The ELs in the mainstream, you know, have been here not too long, but we're still seeing them reclassify, which is actually a really great accomplishment. I think you heard from the student we brought last time that was reclassified and he was an ELD, EL in the mainstream and had started an ELD. And then our LTEL percent, you know, that 1920, we didn't have enough students to measure. So our RFEP rate has been fairly steady, not where we want. I think we mentioned that's an area of growth for us. So we take that really seriously and hope that we can put some, some resources into getting some help to make that an area of focus. And we have just a few last slides. So next one.
So here you see some pictures of how we tried to celebrate our students, their families, and their cultural backgrounds. From the top left, you see Cappuccino's reclassification ceremony. In the middle, Bridge Open House, both open to families. And then a Hillsdale Peace Pantry that also serves Bridge. You see Hillsdale and San Mateo soccer teams. That's our partnership with PAL, and it's currently underway. And the last picture is Peninsula High School staff coming to Bridge to present trimester awards to our Bridge students. Next slide. In addition, we always love to expose our students to the wonderful places and experiences in the Bay Area. Tonight, we'd like to highlight Cappuccino High School. Cappuccino High School ELD students recently visited Angel Island, where they got to learn about its history and significance. On the top left, you see a Chinese student reading the poem written in Chinese on the Angel Island wall and then translating them to their peers. After the field trip, Cappuccino teachers under the leadership of Adam Faber developed a poetry assignment where students wrote their bilingual poems about their own immigration journey, and they later held a poetry reading. This is just one example of culturally relevant and asset-based instructional moments that are taking place every day in ELD classrooms across the district. Next slide. In addition to the rich classroom and field trip experiences, we're also making connections with our feeder schools and families. On the left, you see students from Bayside spending a day at San Mateo High School in order to have a smoother transition next year when there are students there. Parents at San Mateo organized a pupusa fundraiser as a way to share their culture and bring their assets to the school community. And finally, in an 8-week Adelante educational series, Elsa Pulido, with the help of family engagement coordinators, facilitated a parent graduation that you see pictured. This was our internal version of PK that we held during the fall semester. Also, they did a series at Hillsdale, and their graduation was held last night as well. And next, our last slide.
Okay, we wanted to end with sharing this poem. Nina and I are going to read it, and then we'll make some final comments. So, bilingual.
Because I speak Spanish, I can listen to abuelita's tales, and I say familia, madre, amor. Because I speak English, I can learn from my teacher, and I say, I love school.
Because I am bilingual, I can read books and libros. I have friends and amigos. I enjoy songs and canciones, games and juegos, and I have twice as much fun.
And someday, because I speak 2 languages, I will be able to do twice as many things, help twice as many people, and do everything I do twice as well. So having immigrated in 1991 from former Yugoslavia as a freshman in high school and worked my way up the ELD levels, I never dreamed that I would one day have the honor to work on improving an ELD program alongside such an inspiring, passionate, and courageous leader as Dr. Showman, and get the privilege to share a little bit about our program and our students with you tonight. Thank you.
I just want to say we are so fortunate as an entire district to have the opportunity to serve so many multilingual scholars. We know our growth is more than our partners to the north and the south, because I've talked to them. So we're not only providing them with new opportunities, but they in turn are enriching our campuses, our student communities, and they're helping and pushing all of us to grow as leaders and educators. Thank you.
Thank you. Did we have any public comments before we go?
No, we do not.
Pardon?
No.
No. Okay. Trustee Zuniga.
Yes, thank you. I really love your presentation, and I love the fact that you highlighted all of the things that go into being a student that comes into our district from another place. Leaving your country, sometimes leaving your family, along with everything else, being a teenager, not only learning a language, but you're learning a culture and you're trying to fit in. It's very tough. If we could remember and go back to what it was like when we were in high school, and a lot of us are, American born, and we went to high school here, and just what we felt insecure about and didn't know where we fit in. Imagine if you didn't even know what people were saying. So this is really, really important because it goes along with learning. It definitely affects the way that people learn, and it affects the way that people's livelihood is. It's definitely different. So I'm just grateful for your staff. I'm grateful for you and everything you do for our students. I remember my cousins had come to the United States when we were in middle school, and my older cousins, it was really hard for them to adapt because they didn't have programs like this. They didn't have anybody they could look to. And so they didn't end up finishing high school. But my cousin that did, she ended up becoming a nurse. And so it was like, because she had, again, right, representation, because she did have people that supported her. And it was through the support of learning the language, learning the culture, understanding that she left behind all her friends, her home, her family. It was tough. So I'm just really grateful for the sensitivity that there is in this district for our students. I guess my question is, in terms of the percentages of students that have come to the district that have already had some sort of like formal education versus the ones who have not, how are those, like, what are those percentages like? And I guess what, like, how does that change everything for a student?
Yeah, I'm sure we can pull, how many of our ELD students that are coming, right, with some education and figure out who's graduating, but a high percentage. Some of them, we had a student this year, we have him at Bridge for one class. We love him, Jose Naranjo. I know that I think Mr. Montaldo may have him in class too, but he has caught me, like the path that he finished in Mexico. When I looked at his transcript, I'm like, woo, like differential calculus, physics, all because they take right career pathways. So we got him right in. He's taking his classes. He'll graduate in May, right? He split between the campuses because he needed like a US history and to double up, and now he's in econ so that he can finish. And so if they come, and they're either young, we do give an extra year in our district for kids to finish, or they come with credits, we can usually graduate them.
Great. And it's different, right? From coming from the rural areas of our countries,
yep,
and coming from the places that have been displaced and really shaken up, it's different, right? And so, I appreciate everything you do. There's so much trauma that comes with immigrating to a new place, that I'm glad that you have identified that. And you, so some of the work that we were doing through the California Latino School Board Association spoke to this. It's thinking about the student completely and the trauma that they're facing, and the things that they need. Again, culture, language. We have to consider that when we think about achieve. It's tough. Like, what would we do? Right. And so as adults, we have stuff in our lives that we have a hard time with. Imagine being a kid, with all of this stuff. And I know our young people don't want to be called kids, but they're young, there are young people and they need the tools and the support. So I appreciate this so much. Thank you.
Thank you. Trustee Land.
Thank you. First of all, Nina and Samia, that was an incredible report, and I really appreciate all your work and all your leadership. I am just so proud of this program. I can't tell you, just working in many districts from East Los Angeles to Redwood City to Los Altos, where I'm at now, just to see the flexibility that we have and the leadership that you've garnered to be able to have this flexibility as a board. I am just going to emphatically implore all of us to keep this support going because of the flexibility, to be able to increase when you need it for the bridge program, to be able to provide the field trips and the cultural relevant education, to connect it with the ethnic studies, to have the constructing meaning, to look at the data and see the progress that we've made. It's incredible. I am blown away by this presentation, by the way. I just think we are the forefront in California and probably in the nation and how we're really addressing our English learners. I think I just want to say, because of being in this field and being in education and seeing the struggles that happen in so many districts, it's just incredible to see the growth and progress that you made, even with the problems with the pandemic. I just want to make sure that us as a board really support this and continue to support this type of education that we're doing right now, because it is at the forefront of what an innovation of what we're doing. And I know it goes, Samia, I'm really appreciative, and Nina, but I do want to give credit to, Kevin, Dr. Skelly, Dr. Kemke, because the leadership is important to be able to let them do what they do well. And we need to keep doing that. And so I just want to say thank you. And this is incredible. So thank you all.
Trustee Griffin.
I just got a couple of comments, kind of to tag on what Trustee Andrade Zuniga said. And I don't know, because I haven't walked in these shoes, but the difficulty in coming to a new country and having to deal with so many changes. I'm glad to see we have social workers, mental health therapists. We support the newcomer. Actually, we support all of them with support services, mental, emotional, and physical. And I think that's really important, because life is tough enough. And if you have all these other issues, you're really not going to be able to focus on why you're in school, why you're trying to get an education. So I think that's really good. Now, a question, there was one class that had UC credit eligible that was there, and there were some other classes. Are there other classes out there that possibly could? Because I think that gives them a real leg up.
Sorry, all of our classes, so all of our social studies and science classes are actually UC eligible. Intro to Science, we started specifically for level 1 students. I mean, usually in a lot of districts, when you see classes for level 1 students, they're kind of G elective or not elective or no credit, but ours is the actual science elected credit. The only class that gets elective is credit is a designated ELD, but the rest of them are UC approved courses.
Okay, thank you. I think that's good. It gives people a leg up to, when they do become proficient, they're really getting, making progress. So. Thank you. Good report.
Trustee Lee Stryer.
Okay, I don't want to repeat anything that's been said, and I agree with everything that's been said. So that's it. No, but I want to say that education is opportunity, and what you are facilitating, what you're working to create, is opportunity. And by encouraging students and creating this opportunity, more students and more people want to come to us because here is opportunity. And I think that is just so important. It's so simple, and yet it's so important that the doors open, that people feel welcome, that they know that they can come here, they're safe, they can learn things, they can move on, they can have that opportunity they came to this country for. And I was kind of thinking about why we have such an influx this year. And I think the only thing I can come up with, and you probably have a much better answer for this, is that COVID's waning, and so people are feeling more free to move, to take that next step, to go forward. And I would say that that's probably one reason why we're seeing so many more people. That also should be the reason that we should take a very hard look at how we are managing at this point and how we can increase our capacity. Actually, where should you actually be? How should we facilitate that? What should we do to create more space, more staff, more everything, so that they can be their own program in a space where that's really theirs. So that's something I'm very interested in. And Nina, I loved hearing your story, because I think that's so vital to this program, because students can relate, and so much of education is relational. So I thank all of you, and that's it.
Thank you.
Yes, thank you for the report. It was very comprehensive and thorough. I did have a chance to visit the Bridge program about a month ago. I think I was over there, and it's a very impressive program, and it's certainly under some stress just because of the rapid growth that it's experienced. And I want to make sure that we continue to support it, because it is an innovative program, and I think it's providing vital support for students that deserve it and need it as they're coming into the country, and in some cases coming into education almost for the first time, and in a few cases. So I certainly support that program, and want to make sure that we are doing everything that we can to make it successful as it continues to expand. So I think we have to kind of, there's a huge variety in English language learners, and I think looking at the LTELs is the other side of the equation. It's hard to look at this data because the last 2 years have been so strange, and have been such difficult years for students and for teachers. But I don't think we quite cracked the solution to how we move LTELs consistently forward, and I would really like to see us do some more work on how we move those folks forward. I just think students that are born in the United States, been in education for 6 years, they ought to be doing better. And it's like it's like your conclusion was, students that are bilingual, that are fluently bilingual, and well educated in 2 languages, have huge opportunities in this society. So when they do well, if we can get these students to perform at a high level in 2 languages, they have huge opportunities, and they need to see those. I mean, they need to see that they have huge opportunities, and we need to help them get there. And I don't think we've quite figured that out yet. And I think we need to do more work on how we consistently get those students that are, born in the United States, educated in the United States, and are still not performing at a very consistently high level.
And we definitely concur with that, President Hanley, and hope to really get after it because we're not happy with the results. And we know what the potential is because we see it right, like with some of our AVID students. So that is a big goal of ours next year.
Yeah. So those are my thoughts, but I do appreciate your report and the work that you've been doing. It's been 2 really tough years. And hopefully we're coming out of this, and next year is going to be a better year. So any last questions from the board? Any last comments before we move on?
Just a huge thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you. So let's move to construction. N1, approval of the final schematic designs for Aragon, Hillsdale, and Mills transite encapsulation projects.
I'm going to turn this over to Mr. Yancey Hawkins, who is going to take us through this. This is an exciting day as well. Maybe not with the same, emotion that the other part, but Mike Loy is on the call, and I know he feels good about it, and we're excited about tonight as well.
All righty. Thank you, Dr. Skelly. I know we've got some teams coming in here. I'm going to turn it over to Todd Lee from Greystone West here in just a minute, but the board approved the schematic designs for the transite projects at Hillsdale, Aragon, and Mills High School this fall. We noted at those schematic designs, which were mostly technical and budget in nature, that we would come back with some more detailed and final schematic designs where the board would be able to see some more of the finishing and how the projects would truly look. These projects are currently finishing up with DSA. We have selected general contractors for each of these projects, and we're moving forward with all of them. We're incredibly excited to see the transformations of these campuses over the next 2 summers. And with that, each project individually with the teams. And then I will have Mr. Lee introduce our first group.
So starting us off from Team Hillsdale, we have Nina Atzerda from HY Architects and Brendan Papsiak, a staff member at Hillsdale High School. It's been instrumental in our committee work. So Nina, you want to share your screen and show us a little bit about what Hillsdale is going to look like?
Yeah. Good evening, everyone. I must say that this is the first time that I have followed in a presentation so closely to another Nina. So that's really exciting. My name is Nina as well. I'm with HY Architects and I'm the project manager for Hillsdale High School. Just wanted to give you a brief reminder of what our scope is. Hillsdale consists of numerous buildings on the campus connected through covered walkways and circulation paths. And we're really targeting 5. I'm sorry, what?
Say that.
Can you hear me okay?
Yeah, we can hear you. Go ahead.
Oh, okay. We are targeting 5 of the buildings to be included in our scope. This includes encapsulating any of the exterior transite panels. Transite carries asbestos. And then the other 2 buildings, we are painting various portions to really complement the rest of our design. As well, we have minor accessibility work, and we are replacing the glazing on these buildings, the storefront glazing. We really wanted to focus on the different entry points at Hillsdale. The one on 31st Avenue is what we call our student entry. This is where students get dropped off and picked up. So we decided to bring a warm and inviting look of a more natural panelized material to the front entry, and relocating the Hillsdale sign from behind the column to be more focused and readable, legible in between the two columns. The big transformation here is the transite panels. We wanted to stay true to Hillsdale and their big history with alumni involvement. So we wanted to keep the blue at Hillsdale.
Sorry, I don't mean to interrupt you, but we're not seeing any of the images that you're describing.
You want to share your screen?
It's saying it's sharing.
We'll share from here. It's not coming through.
Oh, okay.
Thank you.
Okay, so you guys are on slide. You
Perfect.
guys can't see that slide, or you can? Okay.
Thank you.
Great. And we can go to the next slide. Okay, cool. So what we're doing here is the student entry, as I mentioned, and we have two different size panels that we're looking at to kind of break up the facade of these buildings. So what you see here is the more human scale size that keeps the verticality of the bays that are known at Hillsdale, but spruces it up and gives it more life. And you'll see those are full-size mock-ups in the photo. You can go to the next slide. Thank you. This is the 31st Street elevation. This includes seeing three different buildings. You have the theater on the left, and then traveling down all the way to the library and classrooms on the right. So when we talked with the school and the site committee, they really wanted to complement the school colors, which are a Columbia blue. So we have a mixture of different blues that are a gradient throughout the campus to give it a shimmering, elevated look. We also included the Hillsdale red for a pop of color for wayfinding devices, such as room signage and campus signage. We'll be painting over the yellow so we can brand Hillsdale more aligned to its faculty and students. And we wanted to keep a calming presence as well as a pride appearance for the students to be excited to come to school and excited to learn with all of the great programs and teachers that we've been hearing about this evening. Next slide, please. And lastly, just wanted to give you a brief overview because our work is so extensive and involves the whole campus. We will be phasing the construction. This is a schematic phasing plan done by our contractors that we're working with to make sure that there's minimal intrusion to learning, but also maximizing the efficiency of our work so you can have a nice completed project for everyone to enjoy. Thank you so much.
So next up, we have Juan Pagan from AVID Architects and Valerie Arbizu from Aragon High School. I'm sorry, Brendan, I've skipped you. Brendan, did.
Here I am.
Okay.
Can everybody hear me okay?
Yeah, we can hear you.
All right, awesome. Thanks everybody. It's my first time speaking to the board. So I'm pleased to be here as a representative of Hillsdale and also a teacher from the Visual and Performing Arts Department. Firstly, I'd like to thank Principal Gilbert for valuing and including the perspectives of his art department and also his students, his art students in this whole process. I have an advanced ceramics student named Annie Morrow who's been a part of this thinking with us. She can't be here tonight, but she definitely played a supportive role in actualizing this vision for us and making sure student voice was acknowledged in all of this in this modernized aesthetic. As far as the collaboration with Greystone, it's been really great. It's truly been collaborative. They've been very responsive to our vision and our needs. And, you know, speaking as a fellow artist myself, it's not always easy to hear constructive criticism when, you know, you're putting your own concepts forward. So I respect that they've, you know, never push their own agenda, and really listen to us, and you know, they cared about what we knew about the school and what we wanted to achieve in our aesthetic and our sensibilities. And so we're excited about the vision. As Nina was saying, we wanted a classic look that would stand up over time, but, you know, kind of more modernized with the gradient and the blues that she was talking about. We think it'll still be visually engaging, but not too overwhelming. And specifically, as she was mentioning, we like the classic red for like the waypoints and those accents, but, you know, it's just enough red to not a tradition, but of course not to be too overwhelming, and add a little bit enough contrast, but not too much so we would look like Aragon. So anyways, thanks again for everybody for hearing our input, and I hope I'm able to address you guys again at some point, and with exciting things happening with the Hillsdale Art Department.
Thank you.
Brendan. Now, without further ado, Juan Pagan from AVID Architects and Valerie Arbizu, principal of Aragon High School.
Good evening, everyone. Thank you very much for having me. Thank you to Superintendent Skelly and all the trustees and the students and the staff and everybody here this evening. My name is Juan Pagan. I'm with AVID Architects. We are the architects for both Aragon and for Mills. And we've been working very closely with Principal Arbizu and everybody over at Aragon on creating something that can revitalize, reinvigorate, and add some personality and joy to the campus. So let me share my screen. And hopefully that comes up for everybody. Is everyone able to see my screen?
You're good, Juan.
Okay.
Yeah.
Great.
I'm seeing it.
So I won't repeat too much of what Nina described, since we have very similar scopes. So we're doing pretty much the same thing at Aragon in terms of encapsulating the existing half-inch transite panel system, replacing the glazing with insulated units, and we're going to be refinishing the campus exterior with a cement plaster system. I know one thing that was brought up at the beginning of the process was this idea of kind of starting with a clean slate and creating this new identity for the campus. One of the first things that came up during our initial discussions that's very specific to Aragon was the issue of wayfinding. So we really started with trying to develop this integrated hierarchy of wayfinding systems that engage both the site and the building, so that people venturing the site, and those of you that have visited Aragon, you know, you're familiar with the unique kind of site placement and organization of that campus, and people visiting will be able to find their way to the places that we want them to. So this slide shows kind of the beginning of that process. I know for me, my first visit, Google sent me to this parking lot at the north of campus, and trying to find the main office was a challenge initially. So we're starting there with some less intrusive pole mounting signage to kind of help people along their way. Looking at the main building, we really wanted to start with the campus, the students, the existing building. You know, the building here was built as like a mid-century exposed structure, very kind of linear building that some people described as maybe being a little bit dull. So we've wanted to add some joy, some personality, some identity to the building, but still kind of reinforcing the best aspects of what's there. And you can see here that we're incorporating this linear graphic pattern that incorporates what's known as super graphic kind of directional elements with wayfinding signage and logos and branding for the school. This is another example of our kind of wayfinding signage. This is in front of the main office, adding some signage over the windows and the doors of the main entrances, and then also adding these freestanding post pole mounted signs that are actually really effective in two directions, because you're able to find where you're going when you're walking along the building, but at the end of the signs, they're actually directional information for people that are pulling up parking. So it's really this holistic approach that we're trying to go for. We did want to emphasize the main entrances of the buildings, and as a part of this whole wayfinding program. And you can see here that where we have these alcoves, we're adding these two direction signs. Again, it's this idea that if you're pulling up to the parking, or if you're coming from another direction, or you're walking along the building, you'll be able to find where you're going. And we're also looking at adding these enlarged gathering spaces for staff and for students at some of these main entrances along the parking lot. Here's a close-up view of the scale of the signs. All of these signs are located so that they're above and out of the way. And they're also going to be manufactured of materials that will be, withstand any kind of abuse or be able to be refinished if needed. This is a view of some of those enlarged kind of gathering seating areas that we're looking at the campus. And finally, this is a slide of kind of showing what this pattern is going to look like. Part of this kind of clean slate idea was that encapsulating the Translite in cement plaster is a very durable, repairable, easily available material. And it allowed us to move away from the kind of rigid grid that had been the identity of the building for so long. We're still celebrating the kind of mid-century lines of the building, but we're giving it a kind of new life and a new identity. So that's what we've been working on for Aragon, and we're very excited about what the campus is going to look like and the possibility for the students and for the staff. And it's been a wonderful experience working with everybody there, including Principal Arbizu.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Who's next?
Oh, Principal Arbizu, I think you're.
I clicked it one too many times. I got so excited. So good evening, everybody. I wanted to start with a quick thank you to Todd and to Juan for working so well with us and working with me, kind of going, can we get away from the battleship gray and really make this a much lighter, brighter experience? Because some of our students sometimes talk about Aragon looking a little bit jail-like from inside, and they comment on the gray. They commented on some of the all of there's bars inside where we have the catwalk across, and so it's like, how do we lighten and brighten this up? You may have noticed that we use big A's instead of the Dawn on our graphics, and that was intentional for a couple of reasons. The first is that we wanted to make sure that we didn't put larger than life items on the side of a wall that may be easily redecorated in creative ways. And so we stayed away from that. We're also in the midst of having conversations with some of our students who are questioning whether the mascot of the Dawn is what represents Aragon High School and the values that are there. So as we were going through this process, it was like, let's use an A, if nothing else, as a placeholder as we're having those conversations until we see where that really goes. It's been a lot of fun talking about the construction project with our families, with our students, with our staff. Right now, the big question has been, because if you don't know this, black and red sometimes fade pretty well. Those are the two colors that fade the most. So red has been a hot topic because we want to make sure that it's not going to fade to Bearcat orange. So that has been a consideration as well. But it's been a great experience. I cannot wait to see what this looks like. I'm also really happy that we'll be able to offer our staff some outdoor places to sit and gather, especially in the midst of this pandemic. It was like, where do they eat lunch? Like, not in the lounge anymore. What does that look like? And so that has been something that we've been discussing, and we're looking at another area as well as another potential item. So we're looking at how we use this space now. We're looking at how we could, potentially use the space going forward. But I'm really excited with how well this new design is in keeping with the flavor of the building. I mean, we opened in 1961. And so it's that mid-century modern look. And we wanted to celebrate that while still giving it, some timeless elements. So thank you so much to Todd and to Juan. And fingers crossed that this thing gets up and rolling and that we start school on time with a fresh building. Thank you.
So now we'll go back to Juan for Mills, and then followed by Pam Dushinsky, Kevin Yan, a parent member of our committee, and a student member, Akila Harper.
Yes, thank you very much, Principal Arbizio. I appreciate everything that you said. And moving to Mills, we've got another one of your fantastic principals here, Principal Dushinsky, who's been a wonderful partner along with Kevin and Akila and everybody that's been involved in the process. Similar to Aragon, it all kind of started for Mills with this idea of the identity of the mascot, of the colors, of the pride of the school, of trying to kind of create an identity to a very similar building to Aragon and Hillsdale that, there's some sense of maybe lacking a little bit of personality or being a little gray or being a little bit dull. So let me share my screen. I'll go ahead and start this. And at Mills, it really all came down to the Viking and the idea and the identity of the Viking. In design in general, you want to kind of stick to something that is more abstract, because abstraction lends itself to timelessness versus doing something super literal that may age itself quicker than we'd like it to. So at Mills, we got to this idea of the sail, of the Viking sail. And similar to Aragon, where there was concern kind of about the rigidity of the original system, wanting to celebrate the modernity, the kind of mid-century look of the building, but add some angles, add some expression, add some more personality that works with the structural grid, but is its own thing, was where we came to with that. Here you can see the front-facing facade of the building. We've got a medallion, a signage medallion with the Viking logo there. And we've also got the Home of the Viking sign that we've been working on. That's going to be an illuminated sign, a combination of reverse illumination can lights for the Home of, and then internally illuminated lights for the Viking. We worked a lot with Principal Dushinsky and our group there on the font type of trying to make something that felt strong, something to be proud of, but something that was also welcoming, that wasn't too aggressive. And then you can see in a lot of our signage, we're trying to also incorporate these Nordic patterns that were drawn from the Viking inspiration, is to give the signs a little bit more of a texture instead of having everything be two-dimensional. Here you can see some of the top elevation is the back side of the administration wing of Mills. And you can see that we've gone with this theme of, again, the horizontality of the existing mid-century design is something that's better to kind of celebrate and enhance than try to fight against, but then it's being broken up by these sails that are highlighting main entrances and assisting with wayfinding, and also kind of breaking up the scheme. We've worked with our group to start developing some pride texts that we've been putting in. You see the Go Vikings up there. And then at these main entrances, working on some streamlined, straightforward wayfinding that will assist people in knowing where they're going. Here you can see a zoom in, an enlargement of one of these main entrances that's incorporating a kind of three-part hierarchy, visual hierarchy. You've got the classic Mills gold and red with this kind of goldenrod highlight that's really a focused accent so that people know, okay, we're going to follow this line. Oh, it's leading us to this general area, and boom, here's the door that we need to go through. Here's an enlargement of our signs. Again, you can see we're trying to create this campus-wide identity, and we're repeating that Nordic theme as part of the texture as part of the signage here. Again, reinforcing the angled sails. Here we've got just directories. Of course, everything on here is subject to what we get told needs to be put on them, but just as placeholders, you can see we're looking at the ship logo, mixing up some of that, kind of trying to touch all the aspects of the campus pride and campus identity, along with written descriptions and numbering. And then here you can see a 3D view. We did a lot of work on this, making sure that our sails are hitting below the existing utility runs, that we're kind of streamlining our graphic intent so that it's adding that joy and that identity and that personality, but in a way that will kind of last and be focused and clean as we can possibly make it. And we're really happy with the process. It's been a wonderful experience, and we're super excited about seeing the transformation at Mills. So yeah, thank you very much to everybody, and I appreciate the experience has been a really great one. You've got some wonderful schools and some wonderful staff and students. It's been a joy to work with.
Thank you.
Thank you. Sorry, Peter, I didn't raise my hand, but I just wanted to say how I appreciate incorporating the previous ideas of what the building should look like with the new. I really like the different pops of color. I could see where signage would be easy and people would know where to go. I think it looks really good. Thank you.
Is Pam going to say something?
Yeah, Ms. Tuschinski, you want to?
Sorry.
Oh, yeah, I'll just jump in. I just wanted to thank the committee. We met, since last semester, kind of formulating these ideas, and I think it was maybe too late for them to join us. But Kevin Yan, our parent representative, and Akila Harper, who's also she's a senior at our school, but she's going to be studying architecture design next year in college, and she was just really inspired by this project. So thanks, Juan, for really being open to the feedback from the group. And we really wanted to achieve kind of elevating our school spirit, the Mills Viking, the Viking ship, and our school colors throughout this design, while enhancing the structures and the elements of the center court, which is really the spirit of our school. And I think that these plans accomplish all of that. So thank you for this opportunity.
Thank you.
Thanks. So was there anyone else that was speaking from Mills?
Oh.
No. Okay. Let's see. Trustee Dwyer, you had your hand up.
Was I first, Greg? Okay. Thank you very much for the presentation. I was expecting to see before and after pictures of transite panels. So I thought we'd see how bad they look and how good they're going to look. But I think seeing how good the schools are going to look is more important. And I know that the translate panels are going to be behind all of those nice walls. So I think it's really exciting. I think that each school really spent good time on developing their own theme and their own look. And I think that's really important, particularly since some of the schools do have a very similar design. So this will give them that differentiation that, their own uniqueness that comes through. And I like that. I think it's going to be fun. It's going to be bright. And I think that's important too, actually. My youngest daughter graduated from Mills. And when we first went back and she saw what they did in the inner courtyard and with all the turf and the benches, she said, why didn't they have that when I was at Mills? So I can't wait to take her back again when this work is done, because she's going to say, how come this wasn't done when I was there? And I'll say, well, you'll just have to have children and they'll have to go to Mills. So thank you very much for all your work.
Trustee Land.
I'll keep mine brief. One, thank you. I think what I really appreciated was the collaboration between our schools and the architects, and just really appreciating the history, valuing the history, and using that to create what what we're going to see. And in each case, it's unique to the school. And I think that each design has its own unique character. And I think that's awesome. So thank you very much.
Great. I believe we need to actually approve these designs.
I'll make a motion to approve all three designs.
I'll second.
Okay, we have a motion from Trustee Land and a second from Trustee Zuniga. Trustee Griffin, how do you vote?
Yes.
Trustee Zuniga.
Yes.
Trustee Land.
Yes.
Trustee Dwyer.
Yes.
And I vote yes also. So that motion is approved 5-0. So the schematic designs move forward.
President Griffin, Dr. Skelly, my apologies. I was having some technical troubles. Our crack IT team fixed them up for me. I would be remiss to not note that this Transite panel project was a recommendation from our Citizens Oversight Committee to address that. And so I received several emails from the Citizens Oversight Committee members over the years, thrilled that the board had taken action on this project, and just really excited to see it go. And as this board knows, that committee over the years had three big recommendations for the board to move forward with, and this was the last of the three. And so let's just know you've got a lot of happy current and former Citizens Oversight Committee members on that. So Kevin noted Mike, who I believe is in the audience right now, but the whole crew is very happy. So thank you to indulge that.
Trustee Dwyer, you have your hand up.
That was a faux pas.
Okay. Yes, I remember Mike Loy and I were on the COC for multiple years together, and the Transite panels were among other things that we were working on many years ago, trying to get those addressed. So I know it's been a long-standing issue. So it's good. It's good to see them finally moving forward. So Division of Human Resources, approval of personnel actions.
Yes, we have the personnel actions and addendum without any longevity recognitions tonight.
Okay.
I make a motion to approve the personnel action.
There's one appointment, right? Two.
Right.
On there.
Isn't there?
There is.
Yeah.
An AP.
Yeah, it says an appointment. Yes.
Yeah.
I'm still approving. I'm still making a motion to approve it.
Second. No, I thought that was good news. I thought that was good news.
Okay, we have a motion from Trustee Land, a second from Trustee Dwyer. Trustee Griffin, how do you vote?
Yes.
Trustee Zuniga,
Yes.
Trustee Land,
Yes, and I just want to acknowledge that Mr. Childress mentioned this earlier. So
Trustee Dwyer,
Yes.
and I vote yes. So personnel actions are approved. 5-0.
Yeah. And Mr. Haley, we'll bring Mr. Harding to a future meeting so you can meet him.
Great, thank you. 02, approve the resolution of non-reemployment of temporary certificated employees, 21-22-26.
Yes, each year we have to pass this resolution for our temporary teacher contracts. They also get a second notice that after this, I will meet with them and provide them, indicating that their contract was for 1 year and that there's no guarantee for a position next year. There's 25.4 FTE or 38 individuals.
Okay. Is there a motion to approve the resolution?
Motion to approve the resolution.
Second.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion from Trustee Griffin, a second from Trustee Land. Trustee Griffin, how do you vote?
Yes.
Trustee Zuniga,
Yes.
Trustee Land,
Yes.
Trustee Dwyer,
Yes.
and I vote yes also. So the resolution is approved. Next is a public hearing on the San Mateo Union High School District Teachers Association contract reopeners and the San Mateo Union High School District contract reopeners for the 22-23 school year. Let me open the public hearing and ask if there are any public comments on the reopeners.
Not at this time, President Hanley.
Seeing no comments, let me close the public hearing. So get the next item up here. 04 is just the presentation of the San Mateo Union High School District Teachers Association contract reopeners for 22-23 school year.
Craig mentioned this earlier. The reopeners allow each side to open one article outside of salary and benefits. The association is opening the staffing ratio article, Article 8, and these reopeners.
Okay. That doesn't require any action.
No, just presentation.
So 05 is the presentation of the San Mateo Union High School District's response to the San Mateo Union High School District Teachers Association's contract reopeners for 22-23 school year.
The article that the district is opening outside of salary and benefits are hours of employment. We would like to discuss the flexible courses that we have outside of the school day or hybrid courses that could be online and those sorts of things. We also want to clear up the expectations for teachers on 6/5 as to their professional responsibilities. And then we also included a part of the salary article where we want to talk about payments and overpayments and make sure we have an agreed to process for those situations.
Okay. That doesn't require any board action at this time. So those are the, there's nothing in Division of Instructional Services, Student Services, Business Services, Board Operations. Superintendent Skelly, did you want to?
I just think I want to ask the board if there's any, we have an April 21st meeting about, and one of the topics that we have is the mask mandate. And if there's any work that, that the board would like prior to that meeting.
Just for my the way I look at it is the way I looked at it on March 10th. I'm just going to look at the data. I'm going to look at the guidance that came out March 7th from the California Department of Public Health for the way that school districts should make their assessment of masking, and you know, look at where we stand after spring break and the coming weeks, and we can have a discussion on that. Trustee Land.
So yeah, just to continue with that, just how was the, you know, after the spring break, how was testing? How you know, how are the school classes doing? How are the schools doing? Is there any outbreaks or not outbreaks within the school district? And just kind of what you've reported in the past, so we have some idea of how it's going, so we can make an informed decision after the break.
I don't think it requires any comprehensive preparation. I think it's just data that you've already routinely gathered.
Ms. Dwyer has her hand up.
Yes.
Here. Okay.
Trustee Dwyer.
Yeah, I would like to. Okay. I'd like to see the results of the COVID testing that we do when students come back from spring break, what those results are. And I'd like to know what, if you could do, just talk to some other superintendents in other districts in our county and find out how they did, you know, what their schools look like. Did they experience any surges or anything that occurred? I want real-time information, and I think there'll be plenty of, if the county has things to send to us, we'll get those directly. So I would look more toward our hard data from the testing and anecdotal information that you're able to pick up from other districts and through their superintendents.
Yeah. Okay. I've begun that. Yeah. I'll have more to report at that meeting. That's great.
Okay. I think we've completed our agenda for tonight. Have a great spring break. Take care of yourselves. Everybody else take care of themselves. Be careful out there.
Good night.
I think we're adjourned.